Hello you gorgeous donuts. Today we're going to be looking at the most insane Am I the Arsehole posts I've ever seen. Genuinely, the further we get into this video, the more these stories are gonna blow your mind. Let's get into it. Am I the arsehole for dumping my girlfriend in front of her family? Already, I'm excited. Is that bad? I don't care. I, 31 male, started dating my now ex-girlfriend, 27 female, about 6 months ago. 2 months ago, she moved into my apartment and everything was going great. Until this weekend when she decided she wants me to meet her family. A make or break moment, I'm excited. We drove there on Saturday. I meet her parents. About 30 minutes into the visit, a 10-year-old girl opened the front door, saw my girlfriend and yelled, "Mom!" and hugged my girlfriend. You're joking. I was quite surprised because she never mentioned she had a daughter. After about 5 more minutes of conversation, I realised the whole time my girlfriend was living with me. I know for a fact she has never drove to visit her daughter, and I can't recall any phone call to her either. Oh my god, this one's insane. So I asked the girl when was the last time she talked to her mother, and after some thinking, I get told sometime before summer break. At least 2 months ago! Mother of the Year award is going to this woman. And that was basically it for me. I stuck it out for another 15 minutes, and when the girl had left the room, I told my girlfriend right there at the table that it won't work out. I can't be together with someone that would just dump their own child like that. We drove back to my apartment with her pleading the entire time and promising she would change. I packed up all her stuff and then drove her back to her parents. So, am I the arsehole for ending it like that in front of her parents? This is genuinely so interesting because I don't feel like you are. Straight off the bat, I feel like I would be very similar. I just feel like you're definitely more abrupt with it. They've put an edit saying, I don't want to know if I'm the arsehole for dumping her, just the way I've done it. Like, is that bad? Some people may say that it's very sudden and you could, like, consider your feelings, but honestly, like, I feel like this just tells you all you need to know about a person, as bad as that sounds. If you're dating with a child, obviously you're not going to introduce them on the first date. Like, you want to make sure you like the person before you introduce them to your child. I totally understand that, but I still think you should mention, you know, a few dates in, or by the way, I do have a child, or even on the first date if you just want to be upfront about it. But this is one step further where you just haven't told him, and also you haven't even been interacting with your child. Like, this is 2 months that you haven't seen your child or spoke to your child. Imagine they've probably spoke to them just outside the house, away from this person that's wrote this, which again is just, it's a little bit of break of trust here, because why wouldn't you just be upfront about it? Because if the person likes you, surely if you've got a child, they'd want to welcome that child into your life if they're comfortable with that. Surely you need to know this before you're introducing this person to your entire family. I don't think I would want to be with someone that, you know, can, you know, spend this amount of time away from their daughter to be with somebody that potentially might be their partner. Like, you're not even like years deep into this relationship. She's literally ditched a child for you, somebody that she just met like 6 months ago. I'm trying to put myself in this situation. When my mom was single when I was younger, if she did this to me, I definitely think, like, if I knew about it and was conscious it was happening, it would really, like, ruin my relationship with my mom, like, later in my life, you know, because it almost seems like you're second best. Like, you didn't ask to be put into this world. I like that the comments are agreeing with me. Like, any person that wouldn't even bother to call their own child because they've got a new boyfriend, that's a hard no. They've said they're going to change. How are you going to change this? I feel like this is just who you are. And also, are you just changing because of me, or are you changing because you actually want to change? Like, that's the more important thing. I don't want you to just change because you think it'll make me happy. I want you to do it because you want to do it. I am trying to see this from her point of view. I wonder if this is her mindset. She's like, well, I've raised my child to 10 years old. Now I want to prioritize myself. Like, obviously that is totally wrong, but I'm just trying to get in the psyche of this woman, like, why she's making the decision she's making. Wild. This, you are not the arsehole for this. Like, I like that you've done it so abruptly, if I'm being honest. You're not dancing around it. You're like, look, this isn't gonna work out. Like, I apologize to the family, but surely you can see this from my point of view, right? My mother-in-law doesn't let me have sex with my husband. What? Sorry, the word let? What does that mean? I guess we're gonna find out. My husband and I got married a year ago. Okay. He and I didn't live together before. In fact, we hardly saw each other because we worked and studied at the same time, so our time was quite limited. We got married and went to live together in his apartment. Already kind of alarm bells. Like, what, you don't even really know each other. Like, you don't spend much time together, but you decided to just get married. I find that mental that you got married before you have lived together. I know a lot of people do that, but I feel like, you know, you have to find out if you actually can cohabit in the same space, because that's a big deal. Like, a lot of relationships can be a relationship, but when they move in together, that's where you really find out about a person and find out if it's actually going to work. Anyway, unfortunately, 2 months after our wedding, his father died in an accident. My mother-in-law and my husband, who is an only child, were devastated as it was quite sudden. My mother-in-law, left alone, began to suggest to my husband that we move in with her to her house to keep her company. But because she is from another state, we couldn't due to our jobs in college. Oh, what a shame. Bet she's gutted about that. Then she came to us. Our apartment is 2 rooms, so my mother-in-law occupied one and my husband and I occupied another. I mean, my mother-in-law never liked me. She is one of those mothers who think that no woman is good enough for her son. This is not a mother-in-law, this is a monster-in-law. It's so strange that some women have to compete with, like, the boy's mother just to be, like, a priority in their life. As a couple who are still in the honeymoon stage, we had sex very frequently. Alright. Every day. Even up to twice a day. Okay, we get it. Right, you love each other very much. This changed when my mother-in-law arrived, since the apartment is small, so I didn't feel comfortable doing it with her living there. Yeah, she's basically a cook at this point, isn't she? The thing is that when we did have sex with my husband, the way that's worded, they've said when we had sex. What? My mother-in-law magically interrupted us. It didn't matter what time it was, even if it was 3 a.m. She casually got up and knocked on our door asking, "What are we doing?" Or telling my husband that she feels bad because her head hurts or things like that. Oh no! This has been going on since my mother-in-law moved in with us. It's been a stressful 7 months. Besides, I have no privacy of any kind. She criticizes everything I do, especially my food. Like, everything. Like, does she walk in on used to doing it and she's like, "You're not doing it right. You're not doing it right, are you? That's not how a baby's made." My husband tries to give me my place, saying things like, "It's not true, Mom. The food tastes great." What really annoyed me was the fact that she started saying that several things of value and money were lost in her room. Casually, the day I stayed home. I had the day off from work and studied in the afternoons. I really got fed up and told my husband that this really wasn't what I expected. I agreed to let her move in with us because my father-in-law passed away and I was really trying to be empathetic to her and her pain. But now, I'm not going to let her call me a thief. Too right, love. Now I'm at my parents' house. My husband keeps calling me and sending me messages to come back, but I don't know what to do anymore. This is really stressful. Am I the arsehole? Now, this one is such a layered one, and I can understand why you're so, you know, just feeling awkward about the entire thing. First off, like, you've been really kind into agreeing with your husband to let your mother-in-law move in. Like, obviously, she's going through a really hard time here, and that's a really nice thing that, you know, you want to keep her company. You want to make sure she's not alone. You've went out of your way to make her feel happier, and that's such a kind thing that you and your husband have done. Now, it almost seems like your mother-in-law is taking advantage of your kindness. And now that she's with, you know, her son as much as what you are, she might be, like, feeding him certain information like she seems to be doing, calling your cooking terrible and criticizing everything you do. And that's going to drive a wedge, obviously, between the both of you. As nice as it is that his mother is constantly around and she's going to be feeling like, you know, not alone anymore, this is affecting you and your husband. And unfortunately, I know this is a really tough situation, but the priority here is you and your husband's relationship, you know? The fact she interrupts you two when you're, you know, doing it, especially at like 3 a.m. where you could, like, that's just not, like, she hasn't just walked past and said, like, she's got up to stop it. That's really, really strange. Really weird. From her point of view, it's probably not nice to hear your son doing that. But realistically, you're a guest in the house, so this is unfortunately gonna happen, especially if the flat's really small. I don't believe you're the arsehole for leaving. Like, I probably would do that myself. Just kind of take yourself out the situation so you don't kind of blow up and just kind of, I don't know, create scars that can't heal. That's a very deep thing to say. But I definitely think you need to talk to your husband and tell him how you feel and tell him how it's affecting you and affecting your relationship with your husband, having his mother live there. And this will really be a big tell in how much your husband values you, and if he values you above his mother, which realistically you should if you're in a relationship, if you're married with someone. And if he values you enough, it's down to him to say to his mother, "Look, this is just not working out. I'll visit when I can, but you're driving a wedge between me and the most important important person in my life, you know, like she's being toxic right now. We do have an update, actually. I wanted to give you a little update. I returned with my husband last Thursday while I lived with my parents. We were talking and seeing each other. First time I agreed to talk to him, I told him that he really had to do something about his mother because our relationship was going down the drain. He kicked his mother out. That's abrupt. She didn't take it so well. Remember how I told you she wanted to sell her house? Well, she actually did. She put her house up for sale. What surprised me so much is that she listed her house for sale at well below the average cost considering where the house is located. Apparently she was about to close the deal with some potential buyers. She hasn't communicated with anyone since she left. We also don't know if she returned to her house. And now everything is fine. My husband also thanked me because he couldn't stand having his mother in our apartment anymore. I also made it very clear to my husband that if his mother had behaved differently, I would never have minded her staying with us. I feel a little bad for her because she really brought it on herself. I was always kind despite her treatment. Okay, so this ended up perfect for you then. Like, you are buzzing with how this has went down. I do hope his mother-in-law is okay though. Like, she is obviously grieving, you know, the loss of her life partner, and that might be a reason why she's acting this way. It doesn't excuse her behaviour, but it does maybe offer an explanation why. So I do hope you do, you know, get an update on how she's doing, because she will be feeling really alone here, but it is really positive that you've got her out of your space and she's not affecting you negatively anymore. And now she's not affecting you negatively, you've got more brain space to actually help her positively. Because you are like on top of each other, you just want to be away from her now. You can actually see her in your spare time and actually have a positive relationship hopefully with her. God, I love these videos. Like, these are I just love like getting into stuff like this, talking about it, offering advice. I really wish I had like a podcast where I just like did this once a week in like huge long form. Imagine how good that would be. I'm just so glad her husband backed her up, because I was worried that he was going to choose his mother. Am I the arsehole for telling my neighbour she should check her husband and not me? I'm deep cleaning my house when my neighbour shows up at my doorstep. She introduces herself, which is fine since she's new to the neighbourhood, but then she drops a bombshell. She says I make her feel uncomfortable. I'm taken aback since we've never spoken before and I've lived here for 13 years with no issue. When I ask what I'm doing to make her uncomfortable, she says it's the way I dress while cleaning. What? And her husband has been watching me from their window. I look down at my outfit, a sports bra and shorts, and ask if that's what she's referring to. She confirms it. I'm confused. I tell her maybe she should be concerned about her husband's behaviour and that I'm not bothering anyone in my own home. I suggest she should check her husband because that's weird behaviour. She gets mad and wants to cause a scene. Am I the arsehole? Does anyone else find this situation weird? I should add that I do have curtains blocking most of my windows, but I like a small gap for natural light, which I think is how her husband has been seeing me. Oh my Lord. First off, you're in the comfort of your own home. Like you say, you've got your curtains drawn. You don't even need to really have your curtains drawn, really, as long as you're not like, you know, butt naked and flashing everyone. You can wear whatever the hell you want in your house, especially if you're clean. Just whatever makes you feel comfy. You shouldn't have to abide by someone else's rules in someone else's house in your own home. Secondly, okay, the fact that this woman has made this a you issue instead of like a husband and her relationship issue is crazy. Like, she saw her husband constantly peeking out the window looking at you, and instead of telling him off, she's went, right, that's it, and then marched to your house. Like, make it make sense. Do you know if she caught her husband watching porn on the internet, is she gonna like drop the stars out of the video, a message being like, can you stop please, my husband keeps watching you? No, she'd probably confront her husband about it. It's so stupid when you put it in that context. It's so stupid anyway. It makes it even more weird, right, that like you say that you don't even have that much space in your curtains and he still looks through. So clearly he's not just like, you know, catching you when he's walking past it just staring, which is weird. He's actively seeking looking at you, which is just like stalker behavior. Not only are you getting the trauma of this woman coming to your front door who's new in the neighborhood and kind of, you know, being angry towards you, but you have to know that for the past however long, someone has been staring at you. Like, this would just like unsettle me. I should be the one that's frightened here. We have an update. I've notified some of my neighbours' friends about the situation, so everyone is pretty much on guard and my husband will be home this weekend. if I was the husband in this situation, I'd be marching to their door. Like, I'd be giving him a piece of my mind. You know what I would do? I would just put on a sports bra and shorts and just start cleaning for the next week and just be like, oh, you alright, mate? You alright? You enjoying it? Yeah, I bet you are. I've made a police report and reached out to their landlord, and all is calm for now. She did approach another neighbour about me and how I was rude to her, but I have yet to even see her husband other than when he is getting in the car. But I see her constantly, and she is always staring. Thank you everyone for the advice. I truly appreciate it. Why is she staring now? Are they doing like shift? Does she have the back shift? Like when her husband goes to work and gets in the car, she's like, right, it's my turn to stare now. Get away. Like what is going on here? Why are they staring into your house? Just don't look. Do people do this? I'm worried now. Like I have like loads of houses facing my house. Are people watching? Sometimes I walk into the sitting room to get underpants. Are they seeing that? Oh God, I'm stressed now. All of the comments are basically agreeing, saying this woman is not the arsehole here, which is good. I don't feel like you can disagree with this. If there is anyone in the comments that does disagree, let me know. But I am just gonna say it would make you look like you are possibly the starer in your street. So, you know, just approach with caution with this one. Okay, this one's called the bedroom equalizer. Whatever that means. I'm just going to get right to it. I'm a 25-year-old female and my boyfriend is a 28 male. He likes to be called daddy in bed while we're being intimate. Oh. Okay, already know too much. I've obliged this request, but it's starting to creep me out, and I've decided I don't want to do it anymore. Fair love, fair. He is not happy with this and insists it has nothing to do with the connotation of the word. He just simply enjoys hearing me say it. Since he wasn't budging on the issue, I told him I'd like for him to call me grandma. Where's this going? In bed as a compromise. He didn't like this option and said it was giving him visuals he would prefer not to have. Like, okay, join the club. Anyway, the last time he tried to initiate intimacy with me, I started to refer to myself as grandma in the third person. What the hell, man? Do you like when grandma does that? Exact right, okay. I get why you didn't have to put like a scenario in. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable now. And he flew off the handle. Said I ruined the mood, made him feel gross, and I was being ridiculous. I think I proved my point, but he thinks I'm being an arsehole. So, am I the arsehole? Well, you've came to the right place, love. I'm gonna let you know. We'll all let you know. The donut to let you know. First off, right? You're clearly trying to make him have a better time in the bedroom, right? At your expense, because you don't like calling him this. And you've hit a brick wall with it, right? You're like, you know what, love? I just can't do this anymore. It's weird. I call the person that I am half of daddy. I don't want to call you daddy as well, okay? Can you see my point of view here? Clearly, he's like, I don't care. Love, that's the only thing that's doing it for us. The fact he says it's not the connotation of what daddy means. He just likes you here. He likes to hear you say it. In that case, could you not just find another word that he likes you saying that turns him on? Like, because if the word actually means nothing, surely there's another word out there that you can say. Like, I don't know, kitchen sink. You know, just like that might do it for him. Like, if you need to try other words, because if it's just how the word sounds, then surely there's other words out there. Like, oh, you Kia stick, you booster seat. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of random objects. You innocent smoothie. I don't know. I'm just spitballing things here. If anyone has any suggestions, throw them in the comments. I feel like this person needs all the help they can get. I don't know if it's because you've said multiple times that you're sick of calling them daddy that you've decided to just kind of fight fire with fire here. Like, this isn't going to solve the issue. This guy clearly can't see things from other people's perspectives, and you're just trying to show it to him. Like, look, this is uncomfortable, right? Yeah, this is how I feel. But grandma, like, that would just ruin everything, man. Can you imagine, like, these two just going at it, and he's constantly saying daddy and she's just getting more worked up, so she just replies with, yeah, do you like grandma doing that? This must just be the most toxic relationship ever. I don't think you're the arsehole for this, honestly, but I feel like you need to have a healthy conversation about it, because at this rate you're just going to keep going and doing this until one person eventually just leaves. Just quickly before we move on, the top reply to this is so funny. Not the arsehole. If he persists in demanding daddy, you could ramp it up a notch. Oh, you like granny's cookies, don't you? You're such a handsome young man. To be fair, if you want to have a laugh with it, you possibly could do this. Take it easy, Daddy. Grandma's hips ain't what they used to be. Stop! I mean, I could stop, but I'm enjoying reading them out, if I'm honest. Come now, give Gam Gam a big kiss. If you're really good, I'll give you an extra $5 in your birthday card this year. Right, we're getting too far now. Am I the arsehole for locking the office fridge after someone kept stealing my lunch? I, 34 male, work in a small office with about 10 people. We share a communal kitchen, including one fridge. Over the past month, my lunch has been stolen 5 times. That's a lot. That is a lot, to be fair. Not just random snacks, entire homemade meals I bring from home. Gone without a trace. It's not just frustrating, it's expensive and messes up my day. Oh, this guy chose violence today. I mentioned it a couple of times in the group chat, like, hey, someone keeps stealing my lunches. Please stop. Everyone either ignored it or sent vague messages like, ugh. That sucks. Oh, some people are the worst. But no one took responsibility. Will somebody please think of this man? So I bought a mini fridge and put it under my desk. Nothing fancy, just enough to hold my meal and a drink. I also put a little lock on it just for extra peace of mind. Oh God, man. Since then, no more stolen lunches. Might want to put a ghost immobilizer as well on it, son. Maybe it's a bike lock. Stop people stealing your tomato pasta. Well, last Friday, one of my co-workers, I'll call her Dana, 29 female, confronted me during lunch and said it was weird and selfish that I had a personal fridge. I smell a suspect here. She said it made me look paranoid and not part of the team. I said I was tired of my food being stolen, and this was the only solution that worked. She said I should have just brought stuff I wouldn't care about losing, like snacks or microwave meals, if I was so worried. What? A couple of others have now made little comments like, don't let him see your lunch, he might lock it up. Oh, we get it. You're special. I'm starting to feel like the weirdo in the office just for protecting my stuff. Am I the arsehole for locking up my lunch instead of letting this keep happening? Sorry, this might be my favourite one yet. This is insane. Right. Let's just break this down paragraph by paragraph. It's very concerning that, you know, you keep bringing lunches to work and they keep getting stolen. Do you know, if you like take a meal deal in and you have a similar taste to someone else and, you know, it keeps mistakenly getting stolen? Okay, there's a story here, there's a resolution here. The fact it's like homemade meals that obviously are going to be very unique, like the chances of somebody else bringing in that exact meal in the exact like container is very slim. So clearly the food thief here is smart about this and deliberate. They're seeking out your food. This is not an accident. There's like a heist every day. It's almost like they don't take food to work because they know they'll just steal yours. And then obviously, like you say, you've mentioned it in the group chat, the fact it's everyone giving you a vague reply, it almost seems like this could be some sort of coordinated attack. I feel like there's more than one suspect here. You know, maybe it's like multiple people are stealing your meals. Somebody is plotting something in the background and unfortunately you're the constant victim. So obviously this keeps happening, and the definition of insanity is you do the same thing over and over again, get the same result. So you've took a different thing and got a fridge. Honestly, I respect it, right? Like, they haven't complained about your electricity charges or anything like that. They're more concerned that you don't look part of the team. Now, I'm willing to accept that I don't look part of the team for the fact that I get to keep my lunch. Personally, if me having a mini fridge makes me not look like part of the team, then what kind of team is this, realistically? If the strength of this team relies on us all using the same fridge, the strength of this team isn't very strong, if I'm being honest. Why does it matter if you keep your food somewhere else to other people? Like, what happens if your food doesn't need to be refrigerated? What happens if, I don't know, you bring in like a pot noodle or something? Are they going to be angry that you don't put that in the fridge? It's also hilarious that this woman said that he looks paranoid. Like, yeah, no love. Like, every single day I bring food in, it gets stolen. Of course I'm gonna be paranoid. I'm the victim of a constant crime here, and everyone's so vague around here. Nobody suspects anyone. It'd be like playing a real life Among Us. It's the fact they're taking the piss out of him as well. Like, if there's only 10 people in this office, right, and you take away one person, there's 9 people. Okay, like, someone's gonna know. Somebody knows who is stealing your food. They're just not speaking up in fear of not being a part of the team. Honestly, this doesn't seem like a team. This seems like an environment full of bullies. The fact they keep making little comments about you after you are literally the person that is like the victim here. This tells you all you need to know about these people. They're all arseholes. You are not. Buy another fridge. Buy 3 more fridges. I tell you what, buy their fridge off them and then throw it out. Be even more petty. Am I the arsehole for not switching my first class seat with a 10-year-old boy's economy seat so he could sit with his family? Background info: I, 23 female, have been planning a trip to San Francisco for around a year at this point and had booked my tickets a year in advance. Around a month ago or 2 before the trip, the airline called me saying they'd like to upgrade me to first class due to my points and being a member. Ka-ching, come on. I had never flown first class before, so to say I was so excited was an understatement. I made sure to do everything possible in the lounge before my flight, and I was welcomed with such a comfortable setting for the 13-hour flight. About an hour into the flight, a flight attendant comes up to me and asks me if I'd be willing to swap seats with a 10-year-old boy who was in economy so he could sit with his family in first class. What? A peasant in economy? God, bye, humbug. I'm telling you, if I could sit in first class, like for the first time, and someone else wanted to swap with us, I don't care the age of them. I tell them to piss off. What? I've never sat in first class before. I want to experience that. Anyway, we've got more. From what I was told, the 2 parents were both members and had also received upgrades, also not realising that their son wasn't able to be upgraded with them. So they got their first class ticket, but he was stuck back in economy. The flight attendant began giving me some options as if I had no choice but to move, and she was saying things like I'd get another free upgrade and another flight, or I could get a full refund for the flight. I asked her if there was any chance I could stay in my seat because I genuinely thought I was being kicked out, and she said that the 2 parents and I were the only upgraded passengers on the flight and that there were no other first class seats available. So if there was to be any chance for the boy to sit with his family, it would only make sense for him to sit in my seat. Ah, convenient. Also, like, imagine you're in first class and you kind of want to feel like, you know, everyone's looking at you going, God, what's her job? What's her job? Right, she's a 23 female. She's in first class. What's she do? And then this woman's baited out that you're like, basically, you've just got a free upgrade. You'd be like, cheers for that. Everyone's staring at us now, spitting on us. If this was a different situation, such as they'd overbooked the first class and the boy had purchased his ticket, it would be a different story. But I got this upgrade because of how much I fly on this airline. Also, I may have considered it if the parents had bought their tickets, but they hadn't either. No hate for the flight attendant. She was very polite and respectful during the entire ordeal. She accepted my decision and was very nice and said that everything was okay. Never saw the parents. They were sitting far away from me. I did get shamed by an old woman in the next seat next to me who told me that I made a child sit on their own for 13 hours. I get a 13-hour flight alone for a child is scary, but I saw him walk up and down the aisles like every hour to meet his parents, so it wasn't like he was alone. So am I the arsehole? Because supposedly this is what an arsehole would do. I feel like this one might... Will this cause a stir in the comments? Let me know. I want to know your opinion on this one. Straight off the bat, right? I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't think that you are the arsehole. Before I look at other people's replies, I want to give my own opinion. I don't think that you're the arsehole because you got this ticket the same way that their family did. Now, strictly speaking, it's the parents' fault for not checking that their child could come with them. Like, surely you would check it was for 3 tickets, right? But let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and they thought that their child was automatically going to come with them for some reason. The child doesn't have to be alone here and it doesn't have to involve you. Like, one of the parents could quite easily swap with the child and go in economy, and then the child can sit with one of the parents in first class. But what it seems here is they want all of their family to sit in first class, because obviously you would, like, if you've been given a free upgrade. I get that. But if that's not possible, surely you don't leave the child alone. I know you get free drinks, I think, and free food and free whatever in first class, but surely just one of you swap with the child and you can come and, I guess, take the food back to your seat. But don't leave the child alone for 13 hours. Like, what are we doing here? They've clearly tried to guilt trip you into making, like, you seem like the bad guy here, when realistically you're not a part of their situation at all. Yes, you're both in the same camp because you've got an upgrade, but that doesn't mean you are, like, you know, in the same boat here. You got your upgrade because you deserve it, because you're points. Also, like, wouldn't the child move to your seat, which is, like you've said, that's far away from the parents anyway, so it's almost like it doesn't really make a difference. Like, yes, the child's going to be closer, but still the child isn't going to be sitting like next to them. Although I guarantee one of the parents would then swap with the child so that they're still in first class. I think both of the parents just want to be in first class here, which obviously you would, but to like kick someone else out of first class just so you can stay in it, have some shame. And also the fact the old woman next to you looked at you and kind of like, you know, give you like a dirty look. If she's really that bothered, why doesn't she swap with the child? Like, if this is really killing her and she's complained about it, you swap with the child. If you don't want him to be alone so much, why don't you give up your seat? Why have I got to give up my seat? And then you can see how much she really does care for this child. Like, that would annoy me even more. Like, you haven't done anything wrong here. Like, they've asked you, you've said no, that's fine. Am I going to seem like an arsehole here because it's a child? I wasn't sure. I need to know your opinion on this. Just put yourself in this woman's shoes. Would you swap? I'm sure two people in economy would have been glad to swap with the parents. That's another great point. That is another great point. If the parents really did care about the child and they both wanted to be with the child, two people in economy would have took the free upgrade. The parents are prioritising being in first class rather than being with their child. That is the top and bottom of it. The toxic part of me thinks that, like, if this was me a couple of years ago and I got this opportunity to go in first class and this situation happened to me, I probably would give in. I wouldn't now, because I feel like I'm just more of an adult thinking. But I could definitely, when I was 23, I could have got bullied into doing this. My wife bought a fancy set of lingerie a few months ago without telling me. Am I the arsehole for being slightly suspicious of this? Where is this going, fella? My wife is a stay-at-home mom. So a couple of days ago, I was digging around our closet and our wardrobe for my wrist sleeves, which I had lost. What's a wrist sleeve? I really wanted to find these sleeves, so I dug the entire place up and luckily found the sleeves. However, while searching, I also found a hidden set of lingerie. It was in a plastic cover, it had the box and the lingerie. It clearly wasn't a gift because the box had been opened and the lingerie was outside the box. Now, my wife has full liberty to purchase whatever she wants, and usually I never track what she purchases. However, for this particular item, I went through my credit card history to check for when this specific brand name purchase was made, and it was 5 months ago! Okay. Am I the arsehole for being slightly suspicious of this? Like, I love my wife so much, and she loves me too. But clearly, my wife has been wearing this lingerie for months. I have never even seen her wear it, ever. Is this just to feel good about herself? Do women just buy a fancy set of lingerie for themselves and keep it hidden from their husband? What's the purpose of this? Okay, this one is interesting. Clearly you're feeling a little bit like insecure, self-conscious. You're like, oh, is she like cheating on me? Is that what you're trying to kind of be suspicious about? This is kind of what you're insinuating without actually saying it. I think the biggest worry for you is that it was bought 5 months ago, and obviously like you're saying you've never seen your wife wear it. I feel like there could be a couple of things here. Like, she might have bought it for a special occasion that hasn't, you know, it came yet, I guess. The second thing is, especially since it's like open and stuff, she might have tried it on and just not felt confident in it, or not felt like, you know, she wanted to wear it anymore and she just hasn't took it back yet, or, you know, the warranty's ran out or whatever. I don't feel like this is a sinister thing. Like, I don't feel like she's wearing it for something else, like you're kind of insinuating here. Like, that just doesn't really make sense from the information you've give us. And also, right, I know you're on Reddit asking, but you can't just ask her, you know. Like, you can't just say, oh, by the way, I was looking for me wrist straps and then I came across this. I think it looks really nice. Like, I've never seen you wear it before. Like, you can bring that up without it being toxic. Just ask her. Just have a conversation with that, and then you know. Like, you're asking us, total strangers, like, we don't know. So, a quick update. I was definitely wrong to overreact, but I'm really glad I came on here to get opinions first. So the day after I posted, I casually asked my wife about the lingerie I found, and she was actually excited about it and said she had bought 3 more sets which she had hidden, and she was planning to surprise me on our wedding anniversary, which is in a week. She said that she had bought these sets on Black Friday last year. She was blushing about it. It was hilarious. I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, but I completely forgot that our wedding anniversary was just a week away. I've been extremely busy with work and I'm not the best at dates, so I'm actually really glad about this divine intervention because I can now plan a proper wedding anniversary for my wife. Men! Am I right, ladies? What we're gonna do with him? The fact he was like suspicious of his wife and like he was, you know, having mental accusations against her without confronting her about it. And she actually was just doing a really kind thing for him, just really far in advance. She'd been looking forward to this. And he forgot. He's a week out from the anniversary and he didn't have anything planned. Like, the only reason he knows about it is because he thought his wife was cheating on him. Maybe she should look closer at home. Who needs to improve in this relationship, fella? I don't know if you're an arsehole, but I feel like you're definitely in the wrong here. Am I the arsehole for not letting my mother-in-law come over after she destroyed my Millennial Falcon Lego set? She did what? Look at her. Throw away the key, the absolute evil woman that she is. Pure evil to her core. I don't need to hear the story. I've seen enough. For people that don't know what the Millennium Falcon is, that is out of Star Wars. It travels at light speed and is controlled by Han Solo and also his friend Chewbacca. Yes, that's right, I am a Star Wars nerd. It is like one of my favourite series. I actually had a full Lego set of the Millennium Falcon when I was younger, like a huge one on display. Anyway, I work as an engineer and my wife is a senior supervisor at a law firm. I have always loved Legos since I was a kid, and sure, it's kind of childish, but it makes me happy. So I keep it as a consistent hobby throughout my adult life. It's very nice. I spent months building the Millennial Falcon with my son. It's me and my son's pride and joy, and I often show guests who come over. My wife doesn't really get the hype, but she doesn't mind either. This is the cutest ever. Keep doing that, sir. In early March, my wife's parents came over for a week to spend time with us. As I usually do with guests, I asked them if they would like to see my Lego collection. They agreed, and I showed both her father and mother my Millennial Falcon. I keep saying Millennium Falcon. Her father was amazed at the time it took to build my sizable collection, but her mother said that it was a waste of time and that I should focus on being a real man and move up the corporate ladder. What a woman! I laughed it off because she's pretty old and I figured she just held very old fashionable beliefs. We left the room and nobody really mentioned it for a few hours, but at dinner her mother said, out of nowhere, that I should give up on all this Lego nonsense. That's such an older woman thing to say. Oh, this bloody Lego nonsense. Don't get it, these kids. We ignored this and moved on, but you could see in her expression she was not happy. Nobody said anything about it for the rest of their stay, and all seemed well the morning they left. They left at 3 AM to catch a flight. Tell you what, you could have left at 4 AM if you took the Millennium Falcon. Just saying, travels at light speed. And we waved them off. I went back to bed, but the next morning awoke to find my Millennium Falcon smashed to pieces with a note from my wife's mother calmly saying, this was for my own good so that I can be a real man and focus on what matters. The bastard! It turns out she had quietly destroyed it in the night and left in the morning. Me, and especially my son, were very upset. I called her in the morning, but she refused to apologise. I said that until she apologised, they would not be coming back again. My wife is not happy with my decision on this matter, and honestly, I'm starting to wonder if I overreacted. Did I go overboard, or am I in the right? Oh my god, and we've got an update later on, but before we get onto the update, let's discuss this. Firstly, you're not the arsehole. Like, the fact that your wife isn't happy with your decision, if you look at this, like, overall, and don't take empathy into it, you're gonna be like, why? Your wife is probably like, oh well, why are you angry? It's literally just Lego. But it's how much this Lego means to you and your son. Like, this is a time for you two to spend time together. He's probably talked a lot, bonded a lot. Like, this is something he will remember for the rest of his life, when he used to build Lego with his dad. Like, this is such a special thing. And the fact that, you know, your mother-in-law would do that and ruin it just because she's like, she wants you to climb some sort of corporate ladder and make an extra, like, I don't know, couple of £1,000 a year. It's so sad. Like, if you climb the corporate ladder, you're probably going to spend less time with your son. Like, you're prioritizing your family and your son here, and you're clearly doing quite well. Like, both of you have good jobs. The only reason you would need more money is to be greedier, you know? I feel like you have your priorities so right here. I just think this is such a nice thing that you do. You know, you could be out going to a bar, getting drunk every night, or like sleeping, or you could be doing so much worse stuff. This is such a nice positive hobby to have. Why is she so angry? This is an interesting interesting thing someone in the comments brings up. They say, like, it's interesting how the wife let her mother tell him he wasn't a real man at dinner, likely in front of their child, and said nothing. Again, that's another thing that the child is going to process and think, oh, if I build Lego as an adult, like, I'm not a real man. Oh, well, what is a real man? And then they're going to seek that out in their own time, and it's probably going to be the opposite, whatever the opposite of building Lego is. People don't realize the little things that you say around kids actually have a huge impact, and kids, like, register them. Like, there's a lot of things that my little brothers would say to me where the people I've been with wouldn't realize that they would actually, like, you know, process that information and keep it locked up there. Like, it's so interesting that people don't actually think about that. This mother-in-law clearly is only seeing this from her point of view. From her point of view, she probably thinks that she's helping you. Like, in her head, she probably doesn't think she's being mean here because the Lego set means nothing to her, but she doesn't realize that it actually means everything to you. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't necessarily make her evil. It just makes her, like, not a very nice person to be around because they only think of stuff from, you know, their point of view. Okay, let's read the update. I'm so intrigued what has happened after this. First off, I want to thank everyone for the outpouring of support. It's been wonderful seeing everyone's advice has helped me realise a few things. I had a good long talk with my wife and attempt to resolve this situation, and we've again called the mother-in-law, which I hoped would diffuse the situation and bring things back down to earth. Instead, tensions have seemed only to have escalated. Why isn't she just saying sorry? Firstly, after lunch, my wife and I discussed the situation adult to adult. I expressed my feelings of her not being behind me in this. She admitted to having harboured feelings about my Lego collection. She has also admitted to secretly agreeing with the mother. What? She doesn't think that my mother-in-law should have gone as far as she did. But according to my wife, I need to move on. I feel hurt by this since it's been a lifelong hobby. And being an engineer, I take great joy in building various creations with Legos. After that, my wife and I were certainly not in agreement, but we were at least on the same page. We also both wanted to resolve things with my mother-in-law, and so that day we called her mother, and things did not go well to say the least. I simply told her that I was sorry I had not let her come back, and I hope things can be resolved quickly. Okay, so you've actually took the first step here, which you really didn't need to do. Still feeling upset about the Lego Millennium Falcon, I said that all I asked of her was an apology. She refused, saying that if she bends for me at all, I would never get over my Lego obsession. What? My wife is not happy with any of this, and frankly the marriage is starting to show tensions, which worries me greatly. She seems to be more distant after all of this. My son has developed a strong disliking of the mother-in-law, and I really can't blame him. She has been getting a little crazy and seems to only talk about Trump these days. Here we go. We're learning more. Should we start considering a senior home for her? Yes! Get her in a home straight away. So that's the update. Things are getting even worse, and I'm not sure if I can salvage the situation. I'll update everyone when new developments occur. Now, this was actually really interesting, and thank you so much for doing the update. You really didn't need to update with. Although the mother-in-law is the biggest issue here, and is clearly what is creating all of this tension, my biggest worry would be with your wife, because your wife clearly doesn't have your back here, and it's very fair for her to want to have a relationship with her own mother and make sure she can patch things up, and she just wants you both to be friends. That is totally understandable, and that's what everyone wants. But it's very sad that she can't be empathetic with you and realise, like, her mum is actually acting like an arse here. I wonder if because of her mum's behaviour, and obviously she's grew up with her mum, like, she'll take a lot from her mum. I wonder if she's just been manipulated by her mum so much that unfortunately, you know, this is just who she is as a person a little bit. I just hope that you don't give up your Lego obsession, because it's not an obsession, it's a hobby, it's a positive hobby, and if it makes you and your son happy, that is the main thing. And if your wife wasn't bothered about it in the first place before the mother-in-law kicked off, then it's fine. The only person that is making this a bad situation is the mother-in-law. You've even, like, rang her up and apologized to her, and she hasn't, like, offered you the same thing. This is all you need to know about this woman, and the more I'm actually talking about it, the more I'm getting angry, because this woman clearly is not a very nice person. She's just not. She thinks she's right about everything, and no one else's opinion is as good as hers, and that is, like, one of the worst type of person that you can interact with. Next time she comes, just do what the fridge guy did from the previous story and just lock that door, okay? Get a lock. Don't let her into the Lego room, because she's clearly not going to back down, and if you want to stay with your wife, you're going to have to make sure that that room is protected. Anyway, Donuts, I hope you've enjoyed this. These are some of my favourite videos to do, because they're just like a good mix of being, you know, funny, a good mix of, you know, getting into understanding people's feelings. I really wish I could do these videos all of the time. You know what? Fuck it, I might. I have got an entire backlog of these videos now, so if you want to go on a binge watch while you're just chilling, go here, it'll take you through all of them, and yeah, you can have a great time. Thank you very much, Donuts, for dedicating the time time to watch me. I know I say it all the time, but I appreciate it every time. See you in the next one.
Kirkham, baby.